sunny day. It's sunny day.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Dead Dad Society. This is episode 7. It's a big one. It's a big one today. Our first guest here at the Dead Dad Society, it's Mr. Dan Soder. You might know Dan from Billions on Showtime. You might know him from the Bonfire, his radio show that he does with Big J Okerson. So he was our first guest, and interview coming up a little bit later on, or chat coming up a little bit later on with him. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks to everyone after episode 6. Episode 6 was also a big one. They're all big ones. They're all big ones, guys. Episode 6 was, it was our return after the pandy. And I really sort of delved deep into everything with my dad and losing my dad and his illness and his final months and all that sort of stuff. And it was really nice to be able to get that out. It was very therapeutic. I know a lot of people sort of reached out to me and said, I got a lot of nice messages just saying that it was very relatable. It sort of made them think about their relationships with their fathers or mothers who have passed or anything. A few people that I haven't spoken to for a little bit, that I haven't spoken to for a few years that knew my dad, reached out and said some lovely stuff, which was really cool. So thanks very much, everyone. That was very therapeutic episode, and I wanted to come back with a bang, so we did it. But yeah, this episode, I kind of my guest on this episode, Dan. I kind of have to, credit him with that last episode, if that makes sense. I heard him talking about losing his dad and his sister on a podcast that he was doing, and the chat was very in depth. It was very personable, it was very relatable, but he was okay with sharing pain. He was okay with being open, and he used humor, and he was serious when he needed to be serious. And there was laughs, there was good stories, and it was one of those things where I went like, oh wow, that's how you can talk about pain. And that is something that I was like, wow, that was a real sort of watershed moment, if you will. And I shot him an email just to say, we're in the same club, we're in the society, the Dead Dad Society. I'm, sorry you had to go through it, but, loved your episode of The Honeydew, which is another podcast. You should definitely check out that episode. Check it out just in general. But I shot him an email and he got back to me pretty quickly and was like, thanks heaps for the email. And we sort of had a bit of back and forth, and, threw it out to him about doing an episode of the Dead Dad Society, and he was keen. So we teed it up with the differences between America and here, that's crazy, guys. I'm such a cliche in this interview, asking him what time it is where he is. That's just the most cliche thing I've ever done. But guys, he's really, really cool. A huge first guest for us. Even a second guest. His dog Myrtle makes a little cameo as well. So guys, I hope you like the episode. And our first guest on the Dead Dad Society, episode 7, is Dan Soder. Dan Soder, how you doing, man?
Good morning. I am doing fantastic. I'm about to eat my dinner, so I'm in the best place.
Dude,
every morning I wake up, I'm always looking forward to dinner. And so in your morning, I'm actually going to get dinner. It's a pretty sweet deal.
Dude, how good's that? No time to wait.
That's why you do cross hemisphere calls, so you can be proud of the fact that you're going to eat dinner when people are just waking up.
Not to be that guy, but what time is it over there right now?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. I'm coming at you from a crisp 8 a.m. over here.
And I'm having a nice coffee. I'm trying to feel all your pain,
I've got some drinks going here. I've got some stuff to wake me up a little bit. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't you worry about me. Dude, thank you so much for coming on to the Dead Dad Society. I haven't really had any guests on the Dead Dad Society yet. I've just been talking, just been having fun with myself and my producer.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do is like I wanted to have a big guest. I wanted to have an important guest for my first guest, and I reached out to yourself, as you know, sent you an email just because like we're kind of in a bit of a similar boat with the dead dad stuff, and I feel like I wanted to sort of credit you with being able to let me be open with the loss and stuff like that, man.
You had a perfect chance to shit on me right there where you go. So you're our second guest. We had a first one that was a very acclaimed writer. That's why we were waiting for the second one to be a fool.
Just an absolute
but man,
down.
I think we need to internationally link together and start an official Dead Dad Club or Dead Dad Society, because there's different pockets popping up, and I feel like if we all came together, we can make Father's Day a tolerable holiday for all of us.
I know, right? It's kind of an interesting one for me. Like I've only had, I think three Father's Days and 3 birthdays without Dad. You're a bit longer. Were you 14? 14 with you?
I think for me now I'm at 23 Father's Days.
Shit. So you're not to be down, but you've had more without than with. Is that?
Oh yeah, that's the one, man. That's the one that'll get you, and hopefully you live longer enough. But I always tell people with dead parents, like the anniversary that sucks the most isn't 5 years or 10 years. It's when they've been dead longer than they were alive for your life. That's the one where you're like,
that's the kicker.
Fuck, that stings. That's just the one where you're like, I think for me, it was when I was 29 years old. I was turning 29, and my dad died when I was 14. So that was officially 15 years he had been dead, and was in my life. Well, he wasn't in my life, but he was alive for the first 14.
He was there. He was
He's physically somewhere. I don't know. He's physically somewhere. Dude, we were just laughing about it on the Bonfire, my Sirius XM comedy radio show that you can easily download illegally, and I'd recommend that for anyone in Australia.
Done. We'll do it.
But we were making the joke that when my dad just abandoned me, I was always like, he's probably like an assassin. He's probably like a spy. He's probably something cool. That's the reason he's not calling me. It's just, and then you're just like, oh no, he's just not calling me because he just doesn't give a shit. And then you're like, oh, okay. But when your parent dies, and I think if you have a good or bad relationship, you'll understand the finality in a parent dying. It's not like, it's the finality that sucks, because you're kind of like, we could have came back. Man, it could have been awesome.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he could have been, like you said, he could have been an assassin. He could have been just out there just living life, and then maybe as you come of age, man, he might have brought you under his wing. You're both
dude,
assassins.
That's what I said on the show, man. I was waiting for a government official just to come up to me and be like, "You're the son of the greatest assassin of all time." It's like I knew I was good at playing guns in my neighborhood. I knew I was real good at that.
Yeah, I wonder why he was never around at Christmas. Christmas is a dangerous time for assassins.
I knew I was pretty lethal. Yeah, I was lethal with a Nerf gun, and I knew it didn't happen to be just by chance.
So good. Oh man, yeah. See, I'm sitting at like. I think it's 3. So my dad died in 2017. So we're coming up on 3 years at the end of this year, which is
how'd he die?
Like it's still, he had throat cancer. So so went from, what was it? Diagnosis end of 2017 to dying end of 2017. Did I say that right?
Okay, 2016? So
like a year. Yeah.
So what about a year? Was that I feel like that's a rough one to watch someone go through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I think my dad always had like that, and most dads do. They had that like dad strength or that dad bod, dad look. And my dad was always like he grew up sort of playing rugby and stuff like that, and always had that body. And then as he's deteriorating, you're like, fuck, like that's a shell, That's.
I mean, it's a really interesting argument to have of like, would you rather your dad be dead quick or slow? My friend Ian and I were doing a thing for Father's Day, and he was talking about his dad died quickly. His dad died suddenly and was in the house, and it was very much a part of life. And I think that's pretty, that's going to be pretty tough to watch. But my dad died of cirrhosis. So it was kind of similar to your dad, where it was just slow and you just watched him fucking deteriorate. And that was like, last time I saw my dad was Thanksgiving of 97. And you just walk in the room and you're like, whoa, you're a fucking old man. This is crazy. My dad was 47. So my dad wasn't even old. My dad was 48. Excuse me, he was 48. Yeah, he died in 97. But he was born in 49. But he
my dad was born in 49 as well. That's really interesting.
Hey, but you're 49, baby.
That's it.
And
49.
My dad was a 49ers fan, so it all worked out.
This is
fucking worked out.
Serendipity, fate, something like that.
He was supposed to die. That's what it was. After you start looking at that, you're like, maybe if he died, the world, got better. And you're like, no, it's just painful. It's just incredibly painful.
It just hurts me and probably hurts your mom and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom, that was a weird one. Were your parents married when your dad died?
Yeah, they were.
So my mom and him were divorced over I think 11 years before he died. So my mom was just kind of like, hey, later, dog.
Yeah, more sad for you than sad for him, I guess. Is that?
Yeah, actually, it was 9 years. So it was 9 years that they were divorced, and it was like, I think my mom's sadness was watching me go through it. I mean, I think
absolutely.
Obviously, it hurt her, but I think with the thing that really gutted her was watching me go through it.
Yeah.
Because that's got to be tough.
So do you say he's 48? 48?
Yeah, my dad died at 48.
So close to that 49 as well, man. We could have.
I know, man. He could have got the fucking trifecta. What the fuck, Gary? If he would have had to held on. He would have had to have held on for 6 more months. Which seeing him at Thanksgiving, I was like, there ain't no way he's doing that.
No. Was his a slow burn sort of thing from?
Cirrhosis is a tough one to watch because basically your liver just eats itself. So you're just watching someone rot from the inside and you're just like, man, this sucks. But I always think, man, I had time to prepare for it. Did you feel like that? Like you had time to, by the time it finishes, you're like, all right, I'm ready to.
I kind of talked about it on the last podcast where I kind of dove really deep into all of it. And I was talking about that moment because I was in the room with my wife and my mum when we realized that he'd died. And it was just kind of like okay, all right, cool. Fair enough.
That's gotta be weird. I was on the phone. I was on the phone call recipient then, so I wasn't in the room. But being in the room's got to be weird because you're like, okay, and then you got to look to someone to be like, are you gonna take care of the body, or who's gonna take care of the body?
That's literally. I was we'd been there for a day or so at the actual hospital, pretty non-stop, and I was laying on the floor, scrolling the Australian sports website, just looking at shit oh yeah, cool, they're playing today, yeah, sick, cool. And then my wife was like, I don't think he's breathing. And then I just went and got a nurse and was like, I don't think he's breathing anymore. Can we just check that out? And they're like, yeah, cool. Came in, they were like, yeah, he's gone. And we were just like, all right, cool. So you it's such a strange.
Yeah, you Australians are casual even in death. You're like, no, he's dead.
Oh,
you're like, no, thank you. We're like, it's a code blue. It's a fucking code blue. Push life back into him. You guys are like, oh yeah, he's dead. It's just so fast.
I think that's my my cliche from obviously American movies and TV. It's when someone goes, it's everything just goes fucking ballistic.
Yeah.
Get in here. And it's
we got one on the line. And then you guys are like, oh man, that's sad.
We got to do everything we can. Whereas we were just kind of shit. Well, thanks, Dad. All the best, mate.
He was a good man.
What a good guy.
You guys are way more casual than we are.
I think that's what we try and do though. I just tried to return to not I had a whole tour of New South Wales, the eastern side of Australia. I had a whole tour booked around that time. And I was like, should I do it? And my wife was like, no, fucking cancel it, take some time off, chill out. And I'm like, yeah, no, 100%. But I tried to just go back to normal. And I was like, nah, I probably.
That's kind of what I did. But I was 14 and I didn't really have anybody tell me what to do. But I just remember my mom was like, you can take a week off school.
Mm.
Like, you don't have to go. I was 14 and a freshman in high school. My mom was like, if you want, you could take a week off school. And I took like 2 days. And then I
Yeah,
was
right.
like, yeah, I think I just want to be around people. I don't think I want to just be at home being sad. So I like went back to school and everyone was like, oh my God, you're so brave. And you're like,
But
why am I so
yeah,
brave? I just want
I'm
to be
just
around
here.
people.
Is it
Yeah, so
were people weird or not really? Or
no, people were, I think kids are sympathetic. I got a card signed by a bunch of people or whatever. And, um, I think people understood like, oh shit, man, that's pretty
Mm.
tough. Cause, I don't know, like being an adult and losing your parent, I feel like there'd be a little less theatrics. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah, 100%.
people are like, oh, are you okay? They give you like that. Are you
There is a
doing
little bit
okay?
of like, um, I think, because I'm in my sort of like main group of friends, there's only two of us that have like lost parents.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like there's like a little bit of a click between us, but then everybody else kind of like doesn't get like, because we use humor to sort of deal with it,
Yeah.
and everybody else is like, that's not like, how, what would your mum think? And it's like, my
Yeah.
mum hears me make these jokes all the time. Like,
Like, what the
that's
fuck are
how
you
I,
talking about?
it's like
Yeah.
joking on stage about it. Like, it's my,
Yeah.
like, don't get awkward. It's my dad.
That was the part that like I always wanted to do a joke about my dad being a alcoholic that was a Jimmy Buffett fan, just because it was
Yeah.
so stereotypical. And that's what I thought was so funny about it. But then when I
Yeah.
tried to do it, it was all these people getting like weird about it. And then I noticed the people that were getting weird about it were the ones with living parents. So that just helped me write that joke where in the HBO special, I was just kind of like, fuck you guys. Like,
This is my
yeah,
pain.
why are you upset? Your
It's,
dad's fine.
it's the whole, like, it's mostly white people getting upset about the Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. It's just someone
Well,
getting mad.
obviously not mostly, but you know what I mean. Like, it's the people that seem to be
No,
kicking up
it's
major stinks.
what's weird about it is it tends to be out of this. I think it's a misunderstanding out of a good place. I think they're trying to be like, hey, that's a sensitive topic, and you're like, yeah, that's how I deal with it. Is I
Mm.
make fun of it because it's fucking ridiculous that my dad was a Jimmy Buffett fan and drank himself to death. And I
It's,
noticed, I've noticed with like I did the Fringe last year, and that's where I really was able to work out one of the jokes
mm,
because in America, when you bring up 9/11, people are immediately like,
just tighten up.
you
Yeah.
better watch your fucking step. America we
Mm.
were hurt. And you're like, yeah, no, I know. There's no, just in the special, I had the joke where I was like, there's levels of dead dad, and you can actually be jealous of people with better dead dads. And I was talking about my friend whose
Mm.
dad died in 9/11 as a firefighter. And you're like, dude,
Top
that's,
dad, like top
yeah,
tier.
dude, top shelf dad, dude. That guy's a fucking hero.
Yeah.
And it took me having to go to the UK and do shows in Scotland and then, work on it in Ireland and stuff where people were kind of
Mm.
like, yeah, that's funny. And then I kind of brought it back to the States with like a confidence of like, dude, this joke works. So you guys are just
Yeah.
being pussies
Just
if
chill
you're
out. Yeah.
upset about it.
That's, yeah, I find that like, unless, like I did a show at like Sydney Comedy Fest and Melbourne Comedy Fest in 2018. So like a year after Dad died. And a lot of it did have content about Dad. And unless it was in like an actual festival show, people like, if I just tried to do it like at any old night, people would be like,
Yeah.
oh, no.
Yeah, dude. I
But
would do it at the cellar and I would feel people be like, oh, are we? That's what the
that's
last
where
guy
we're
was
at.
just talking about how
Ooh.
dating is weird. This is
This is sad. He's
I used to
working
hate when
out some
people would
shit.
call it dark. They'd be like, "Oh my god, that's so dark," and it's like, why the fuck do you use comedy? What do you use comedy for? Just to
Didn't,
dance in the
yeah.
light?
Yeah, you can't all have like just this golden upbringing kind of thing.
Yeah,
You
just
gotta
like.
get some shit out.
Well, what's interesting about that, man, is I kind of feel for younger generations because I feel like they're being stopped from feeling pain, which is just how you grow. Which is like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're just gonna have a bunch of really immature. My dog is being a fucking weirdo right now.
That's all right. What kind
You're
of
just
dog
gonna
you
have a
got?
bunch of. I'll show you. Let her get up on this fucking couch. Come on, come on, fuckface. You're gonna interrupt the interview. Come on, Myrtle. There you go. This is her. This is Myrtle.
Oh, what a sweetheart. There we go.
She's a
There's that
she's a
second guest, dude. There we go.
fat little bitch. No, she's
What,
saucy.
what kind of dog?
She's a mutt. She's a fucking mutt. Do you want to do the
So
podcast?
good. Hey, Myrtle. Oh,
Those are her thoughts. Those are her thoughts on Dead Dads. But it was
oh,
it was interesting. It was interesting to do those jokes and kind of come back, because people, when you have a joke worked out and you're kind of like, no, this joke works. You're right. In comedy clubs, they're just like, where did that come from? But in festivals, they're kind of like, all right, I'll let you. And I was able to work out that joke at the Fringe, and I think it was because they were like, it's the Fringe.
That's it. I
Most of
guess
the
they're
shows
so
they
open.
prefer is, yeah, the Fringe, they prefer you have a dead parent. They'll be like, please
like-
tell me he raped you. At least tell me he raped you. And you're like, no, just wasn't there. And they're like,
Just wasn't there. It's like part of the application, right? It's like a
yeah,
tick box.
Yeah,
Dead dad, dead mom, and you're like, both. Like, I'm in.
what hole did your dad go in? And you're like, my face hole. It was my face hole.
Give him,
Yeah.
give him 10 shows. He's got some shit to work out, man. That's hectic.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's what's interesting about comedy in America right now is like a lot of places that used to be the quote unquote like safe spaces for dark jokes are now like people are kind of like, oh, like you definitely can't do them at colleges, but even comedy clubs, they get weird.
Yeah, really. Wow. That's like, I feel like just from, this is complete outsider perspective, of course, like, but from watching podcasts and all that sort of stuff, you guys seem to have a lot more freedom than we do out here. Like out here, it's very, I don't want to say PC because that's really not that's the term that's thrown around so much, but like, even just stuff like that's dark, like it's my dad and it's my pain. They're like, whoa, like we weren't ready for this. Like,
well,
can you tell us some stuff about dating, like you were saying, or something?
Yeah, I think that's actually the double-edged sword kind of like that Australian charm, which is that you guys are so bright and like light and carefree.
Yeah.
But then when the dark shit hits, you're kind of like, man, let's not get into that. Let's just move forward. Let's just
sweep it under the rug.
And I think there's like, I think definitely with podcasts and shit, we're lucky out here just to be able to say whatever the fuck we want. But, you know, when you're dealing with an audience and you're trying to talk about something like your parent being dead, a lot of the times they'll just be like, what? Because unless I've noticed when I was working that joke out, if someone was in the crowd and their parent was dead, the crowd, and they reacted, they would be like, yeah. I'd be like, like you make it the normal. We're like, right, dude?
Right.
And then everyone else will be like, well, if they're laughing about it, I guess we can.
Then it's okay. My wife brought up an interesting point. Like when I did the show at Sydney Comedy Fest, she obviously came and watched, but she said that when I would bring up stuff about losing my dad, it would then subconsciously, like without even wanting to do it, make her start thinking about losing her dad.
Yeah.
So I guess you might have 100 people, maybe 2 of them have lost their parents, and then you've got 98 people that are now sitting there thinking about their parents dying at a comedy show.
That was something that I definitely want. That's part of what I addressed in that bit that I did on my special, was kind of just like, hey man, your dad's fine. Don't worry. We're talking about my dad, and he's dead, and I'm fine with that. So we're good. So let's just have fun. Let's just not freak out and have fun, because it's when you give that person the power of like, you shouldn't say that, and you're like, should I not say that? Then they become more powerful.
Yeah. Do you find any do you find any like immediate sort of triggers, like for, like I'll be walking around and there's a song that like we played at my dad's funeral. Yeah. And for some reason, the major sort of supermarket chain over here has their own radio station.
Yeah, we do that.
It's one of the ones rotation. Like,
no,
it's seriously, it's called Coles. I don't know. Do you have Coles over there? No, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, we have Coles. We actually have the clothing department store Coles, which is KOHL.
Oh, we got COLE. Man, America, Australia, this is crazy.
We got it. It's all merging together. But yeah, I mean, we do that a lot. Our corporations do that a lot, where they have a radio station, like Dunkin' Donuts does that here, and there's like places where you go where you're like, it's Dunkin' Donuts radio. And
yeah, that's it. Shut up. And they've got 12 songs or fucking 15 songs in the rotation. So it's like, I can't be at the shops for too long. Otherwise, that song will come into rotation, and I'm just like trying to pick, do I want Pepsi? Do I want Coke? Oh, I'm fucking crying my eyes out.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that triggers, I'd probably say, like, the thought about my dad would be when I see other dad stuff, when I see people with like good dads, I'm always like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm jealous, and that kind of triggers my jealousy. But what really gets me is, I'm a huge 49ers fan, and so is my dad. I'm a 49ers fan because of my dad, and a lot in the last 2 years has triggered that, just because one of my close friends that I grew up with became a coach on the
That's
49ers.
right. Yeah, you said that on the Honeydew. Yeah.
It was just kind of one of those situations where it was like, oh man, I wish my dad was here, because this is pretty.
He would have loved
fucking
that. He would have
cool.
loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to tell my grandma about it. His mom, she's still alive, but she's 93, and I don't think she understands the weight of it. I don't think she's like, oh, you're in the head coach of the 49ers office, and you're like, yeah, that's insane. Like,
that's huge.
Insane.
Yeah.
And that would be the thing. I went to the Super Bowl this year, and it was the 49ers Chiefs, and I was just like, man, it would have been cool to be able to talk to him about that.
100%.
Just that experience, because I think he'd be like blown away that I got to go, and they lost, and what did he think of the team, and there'd just be like a lot of questions that I have. But music doesn't do it anymore. You see
that's
that
good.
grab, dude?
That's athletic. That's the athletic side of you.
Yeah, dude. My dog got up to fucking run, and I grabbed the back of that harness. But I think as far as music goes, my sister died 2 years after my dad did, and I think that gets triggered way more with music, because I'll hear a song, like you said, I'll hear a song that played at her funeral, and I'll be like, ooh, all right.
Ooh, yep.
Son of
I'm going to take a moment. Yeah, that fucking sucks.
I need a minute. Fuck. Yeah, you're just like, oh.
Yeah, so like similar sort of thing with my dad and the sports stuff. So like the year after he died, like Father's Day, birthday, both for him around the same sort of time.
Yeah.
My
dad had a June birthday too. So yeah.
Here's America, Australia fucking us up again. Father's Day is like September out here.
You fucking Aussies. Yeah, we're
man,
June.
we can't help ourselves, man.
We got to get it on the same page, dude.
Is that 49? We need that 49, 49, 49
trifecta, parallel.
And we're just fucking it up.
We'll call it the 49th parallel. That's where we all come together.
But so my dad, like, Father's Day, birthday, kind of around the same time, and I was like, just out of habit, as I'm sort of walking around the shops, I'd start looking for stuff, being like, that'd be good for Dad's birthday, that'd be good for Father's Day, and there was a like autobiography of like the big rugby league team that he supports, the coach, their autobiography, and I was like, done, like that's it. Put it in the trolley halfway around the shops before I went like, oh fuck, that's right. God damn it.
That's a tough realization. That's a tough one, because you're just like, oh fuck, man.
And it's like,
put that back.
Do I walk it all the way back, like the saddest, like walk of shame, or do I just hide, like just fucking? I'm just throw it in the air, don't care, whatever.
Yeah, you just put it on that shelf, and you're like, all right, someone else's dad can like this.
They'll love it, I guess. I miss him so much. He's such a good guy.
I can honestly say selfishly that it started to become nice to not give a shit about Father's Day after a while. We were just kind of like,
good.
Fuck it. I don't need to do anything. You just see people be like, even my girlfriend this year was like, I gotta get my dad some shorts and some shirt or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, nothing on this end. Don't have to.
I'm very lucky, because like I've just had, like a year ago, I just had a daughter. So now Father's Day is for me. Like that's
there you go. What a way to swap out. Smart move.
But don't tell my wife, but that's the entire reason that I did it. Just so Father's Day was, back on me.
You're
back on me for a good reason.
Sad. Now I need to get stuff.
That honeydew episode, like with Sickler, it felt like you were just, I don't know, it really kind of opened my eyes, I guess, to like, because you were just talking about it, and you weren't reserved, and like you were just you had humor throughout it, but it was a serious chat, but it didn't feel like a woe is me, like listen to Dan,
Nah, man.
get rid of his feelings.
I always say, like, because of that, it was an incredibly painful thing to go through, and I think it still is. It's painful every day because you don't have half of the person that made you. I got my mom, but I grew up with an absentee father that died. So there was like a little bit of like, fuck, man, we never got a chance to make things right.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think for me, what that does is if you kind of tell people that you've gone through that shit and they're going through it and they don't know how to deal with it, I think just hearing someone else talk about it. I mean, I'm a straight guy, so I'll never know what it's like to be gay and in the closet or whatever, but I would assume that if you're closeted and you're homosexual and then you're around a bunch of people that are proud of being gay and proud of being out of the closet, I think that would probably make it
much easier
in order for you to kind of realize what you're going through. And I think, it's obviously not sexuality, but dealing with tragedy like that is much easier. And I think that's also why you see sexual assault victims feel comfortable around other sexual assault victims, is because there's this air of like, there's no need to be ashamed. It's a trauma that was caused to you that you can work.
You can deal with it however you want.
Yeah, you might not ever be healed from it, but you can work through it to where the power isn't, you don't feel completely powerless over it. And I think loss, you can feel powerless over a lot. I think you can feel like it's unfair, which it's a lot of the times is. You can feel like it's not only unfair, but like, is it normal? Yo, you need to back up, Myrtle. You're in a fucking mood today.
That's a brilliant name, by the way, Myrtle. Brilliant name.
We got it from Rocket League, the video game, so it's not deep. Hey. Don't worry. My girlfriend and I just liked playing Rocket League, and one of the characters was Myrtle.
Who doesn't, though? What a game.
Well, it's an old lady name. It's a fun old lady name for a young asshole dog that I love very much. She's just tearing up her bed right now. I'm like, you piece of shit. You're doing this because I'm on podcast. Hey.
Yeah.
Knock it off. She gets the zooms, dude. She's a puppy, so she still gets those puppy zooms, where they're just like, I just want to fuck up everything. I just had an idea. I'm going to fuck shit up. See, she hears that. And she's like, what's up? You want me to fuck shit up? But I think, something you're doing with Dead Dad Society and that kind of stuff is when you put different perspectives on it and you put different people's names on it from going through it, I think people that have recently gone through it or have never dealt with it feel like, shit, how do I deal with it? And then I think that puts you on the path to feeling better. Yeah.
I mean, that last episode that I did, like after coming back from having a bit of a break with the whole pandemic-y sort of stuff, I've had a few people, like I had a friend that sort of reached out who lost his dad, and he was like, man, I'm sorry, I just can't listen yet. I will, but I just can't do it yet. And I was like, that's cool, man. And then like another friend who, I guess kind of in a similar sense to yourself, who unfortunately their dad wasn't like really around. Like he's still alive, but not really around. She was like, wow, that was, makes me happy that I'm not really going to feel that pain, if that makes sense. Like she listened to it and was like, I mean, I'm not going to feel that pain.
What I tell her is it's almost like I don't know if I tell this right now, but it's kind of a worse pain, because then you start thinking about who your dad was as a person, who like how you didn't get to know him, what would it be like, what were these conversations like. So it's just different shades of shit. It's still shit. It still sucks, but I think there's people that lose a parent and then they just like try to act like nothing happened, because some people are fragile and their families don't want to talk about it. I think you should get into therapy and work on it and see what happened in your relationship with that parent, and what's going to happen without that parent. And I think it gives you a little advantage, and I definitely think an advantage is going through it young, which I know is weird, but going through it young, I think it shaped me. And something that you said that reminded me, when my dad died when I was 14, my friend Dennis, who was a year older than me, or no, we're the same age high school wise, but it had happened to him when he was 4.
Right.
And he was like, dude, it sucks. It sucks. And he just didn't pull any punches. He was like, it fucking sucks. And if you need to talk about it, I'm here. And in just that alone, at being 14 was like, we were new friends. It was our first year in high school. So I was just like, oh shit, man, thanks a lot. And that really helped me throughout my life when, you know,
Four
I
is
call somebody and be like, I'm feeling like this. And they're like, that's
like the mate that I said, like, that hadn't listened to the podcast yet. We've got like a bit of a deal going, that I'm like, if you ever can't, you know, deal with it, or it's a bit too much, I'm like, just fucking call me. Like, just call me and go, like, it doesn't even have to be, you don't even have to let me know that's why you're calling. Just be like, just call me. And
absolutely.
Like, and I guess in this day and age, when people do call you, I kind of know why he's calling. I'm like, oh, it's one of those calls. All right, sick, no worries. But like, that's, I don't know, that's just what we try and do to deal with it, I guess.
When you start getting those calls and you're kind of like, oh, okay, like, it's kind of, there's this weird feeling of like when you've lost someone and someone calls you. Like, I just had a really long conversation 2 weeks ago about a friend that lost an ex that he was like really close with. And it's just kind of like, you just kind of have the roadmap a little bit. You just know the roadmap a little bit more to be like, here's kind of what I was wrong about and right about right when I lost, you know. And then you're like, you just kind of learn. And there's a lot of great books on it. There's a lot of practices on how to deal with loss, but I haven't seen anyone that's better than talking to someone that's been through it and just bullshit.
Especially if it's someone you're close to, you can literally just, you know, let's just get into it, man. I'll let you go in a second. I genuinely appreciate you coming on and having a riff with me, having a chat. I want to talk. Just before you go, I want to just talk about Billions a little bit. Have you guys shot? Was it second part of season 5, or is that on hold?
Man, we're halfway through season 5, and they shut us down because of COVID, and we haven't been back since. I heard a rumor that there was going to be a chance in September, but man, it ain't looking good in the States. It ain't looking good at all. So
have you guys got heaps of cases again? Is that like it's really spiking?
Yeah. We're breaking case records every day out here.
Good.
So
Good.
it's a lot. It's a lot, and you know, leadership's not really the best right now in the States. So we're kind of dealing with it. But I think we're lucky in New York that we have Governor Cuomo, who's been on top of it the whole time. And when we were the epicenter of the United States' virus outbreaks, he was really good about it.
That's good, man.
And so I think we're gonna see when we can get back to work safely. And you know, after that, I think we're gonna film the last 5 episodes of season 5, and then hopefully move on to season 6.
Yeah, right. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if it made its way back to back to America, about the new spike in Australia.
Yeah, you guys are spiking right now. They're calling it a second wave.
Big spike, and it all started from security guards at a quarantine hotel having sex with infected people that were supposed to be quarantining. Yeah.
Man, you guys are so hot on that island.
We do.
Big island of hotties.
We got shit to do. People to do. Who cares about quarantine?
That's crazy. So that created a national spike?
Like, that's in terms of in Victoria, that's like Victoria, one of the major states. Like, that is like, and Victoria's complete lockdown. Like, it's illegal to go outside without a mask now. Like, crazy spikes.
I gotta look up that. Dude, that's incredible.
It's insane.
Incredible.
And it's also probably the most Australian thing I've ever heard.
Dude, you guys
at the same time,
and fucking, and that's what spread the virus. What a cooler way.
Ours
is protesting for equal rights with for black people, and you know, then the other side, which is screaming about wearing a mask or having to stay at home. So ours are all through yelling. Your guys is all through fucking. So you guys are definitely
different kind of yelling, I assume.
Yeah, from yelling. Fun yell.
Yeah, with Billions. Sorry, man, I kind of jumped off there. With Billions, do you find like, obviously, like you're a big comic. Don't get me, you're a big comic, but do you still nerd out like when you get to work with people?
Yeah, here's the deal. I'm not like gonna be if I act and stuff, it's because I got lucky and I got a job. I'm not like I'm not like an actor. I'm not going to go out there and be like, oh, this is one of the coolest opportunities I've ever had is to work on that
Yeah.
show and be around the people I'm around. And it's just kind of like one of those things where you're like, man, I'm real lucky. And I just hope I do a good job and they don't fire me. But I nerd out all the time.
That's when
Giamatti, when we're at table reads or whatever, because I don't work with the Paul Giamatti side ever, with like Paul or Condola or Alan Havey or any of the people that are on the legal side of it. When you're at a table read, we're all together, and that's when I really nerd out, because then you see the guest stars that you might not have a scene with, and then we get some really cool guest stars. So it's like,
man,
it's pretty insane, man. It's pretty fucking cool. It's a real cool job to have, and I really appreciate having it.
It's so good. I like out in Australia, there's I guess everyone sort of my age grew up with this chick called Claudia Carvin. She was in like literally everything, like all of our like teen dramas, all of this. So she's like, and really quite surprising she didn't break it overseas.
Yeah.
And I did a thing with her a few years ago, and man, I couldn't, like, it was the only time, like, I've met a lot of people doing stand-up and stuff, as I'm sure you have, but with her, I couldn't fucking make eye contact, man. I literally was just like she'd say stuff, and I'd just, it's great weather, yep.
Dude, I'm a massive wrestling fan, and we had Becky Lynch on the first episode, and I was just like, and like they walked me over, they're like, Dan's a big wrestling fan, and she's like, oh cool, and you're like, I'm just gonna shut up.
Yeah, literally did that thing that we had to reschedule, like this chat for, the thing I did the other day. When I got there, the other dude in the ad was like a player that used to play for my favorite football team, and I was just like, hello, and they're like, oh, Mitch is like quite a big Sharks fan. He's like, really? And I was like, fuck you, like, don't say that, like, don't fucking throw me under that, like, because now I know fucking everything about you, like, I probably know too much about you.
You're obsessed with me. That's cool.
That's really sick. But yeah, man,
cool. Well, thanks, weirdo.
I would be, I think from my back in the day, my love for Band of Brothers, man, I don't think I could look Damian Lewis in the face.
Dude. He's the fucking man. He's the man. It took me a couple seasons to get comfortable around him. It took me about 2 seasons to get comfortable around him, but he's the fucking man. So is David Costable, who plays Wags. I mean, the whole Axe Capital crew. Maggie Siff and Asia K. Dillon and Daniel K. Isaac and Kelly O'Coin. It's just like all these fun fucking people. It's real fun to work with. Yeah, man,
that's so good. Yeah, Damian Lewis is always Captain Dick Winters? He'll always be
dude.
The captain.
Richard Winters, dude. Captain Winters.
That's it.
He's the fucking man.
Man, I'm as you can probably see, I'm starting to cop a lot of the morning sun here.
Yeah, don't burn up, dude. Thanks for having a nice chat, man. Go seize the day.
That's it, dude. Man, Dan Soder, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate you coming on and having a chat and working through just having a chat. Having a chat, man. And hopefully this pandemic bullshit stops soon. You can get back on stage, hopefully in Australia.
Yeah, man. Same with you, dude. I would like to get down there too in the Southern Hemisphere and have fun with all very fun, joyful Australians instead of these angry, non-mask wearing Americans.
That's it. You can come out in September, man, and we'll spend Father's Day together. That'll be the best.
Deal, dude. I would love to spend an Aussie Father's Day with you.
Amazing. Dan Soder, thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Have a good one, dude.